All right, today we are doing a portfolio checkup on one of my biggest AI holdings, Nebius Group. Now, I know everyone is talking about that massive new deal they just signed with Meta, but we're going to focus on the one number that, frankly, nobody is talking about. And it's the one that could absolutely destroy your returns if you aren't paying close attention. Let's get into it. So, my position in Nebius Group, or NBIS, is up nearly 400% in 2025. And look, that's an incredible return, but you know what happens. Massive gains create massive psychological noise. It's exciting, for sure, but it also makes you question everything, right? Do you sell? Do you buy more? The emotions, they just start trying to grab the steering wheel.
And that's really the core of the problem, isn't it? The hype around that Meta deal is just deafening. But successful investing, well, it's not about following the crowd. It's about looking at the data that everyone else is ignoring and really understanding the risks that could, sink the whole ship.
My name is Joe, and for anyone who's new here, I'm managing my family's investments with one very clear goal: to turn an initial £75,000 into $1 million. And the whole strategy here isn't to chase hype, it's to systematically, relentlessly protect our returns and just let them compound over time. You've been there. When a stock you own just goes vertical like this, your emotional brain wants to get greedy, buy more, go all in. And when it drops, it wants to panic and sell everything. So to fight this, I've developed a system. I call a board meeting with my AI agent, Mary Jane, and we run this simple, disciplined, three-step process to just cut through all that noise. So, let's get into how it works. Step 1 is what I call the thesis check. This is where we go right back to the very beginning and we re-examine the fundamental reason we invested in the first place.
And this part is absolutely crucial. It's all about the quality of the question you ask. I don't ask my AI, is NBIS a buy? That's a novice question, right? It's looking for a simple, easy answer. Instead, I ask something very specific, very high level. Does the new Q3 data confirm or fundamentally break our 10-year investment thesis? It's a completely different frame.
Okay, so here's what came back from that first check. The AI broke down the Q3 data into two clear categories. The good news is kind of obvious. Revenue is up strongly year over year, and Nebius, well, they've signed these massive multi-billion-dollar deals with Microsoft and now Meta. But then there's what I call the grit in the oyster. They actually missed revenue expectations, just slightly. Their net loss has widened, and capital expenditure is just huge as they race to build out all these data centers. All right, so with that data on the table, we move to step 2. I call this the bear case interrogation. This is where we specifically tell the AI to find the biggest risks and really challenge our own assumptions. We want it to be ruthless. So to do this, I give my AI agent a very specific role. I tell it to act like a skeptical short seller. An investor who's betting on the stock's price going down. The prompt is simple and direct. Ignore the hype. What is the single biggest risk to my equity right now? This just forces it to find all the hidden dangers. And what came back was fascinating. The AI's answer wasn't competition, which is honestly what you might expect. It was two internal factors: dilution and execution. And this is the crucial insight, right? The biggest threat isn't from the outside, it's from inside the company itself. So what exactly is shareholder dilution? Well, to build these massive data centers for clients like Meta, Nebius has to spend billions of dollars. And if they can't fund that with their own cash flow or cheap debt, they have to issue brand new shares of stock. And the AI immediately flagged that Nebius has an equity program that allows them to do exactly that.
And really, this is the key trade-off we just have to accept. As a long-term owner in a company that's growing this fast, this is the cost of hypergrowth. Even as the total value of the company, the entire pie, gets bigger and bigger, my individual slice of that pie can actually get thinner.
Okay, so we've checked the thesis and we've interrogated the bear case. Now we get to the final step, translating all that analysis into clear, actionable options.
And my AI agent, it doesn't give me a prediction. It's not a crystal ball. Based on our predefined rules, it gives me 3 clear, logical paths. Option A, trim the position, take some profits off the table. Option B, buy more, make an aggressive bet that the growth will outweigh the risks. Or Option C, hold and monitor, accepting the risks, but only as long as our core thesis stays valid. So, what was my decision? Option C. I'm doing absolutely nothing. And you might ask why? Well, because the original thesis, that Nebius is becoming a critical picks and shovels supplier for the entire AI infrastructure build-out, that thesis is not only intact, it's been powerfully validated by these massive deals with Meta and Microsoft. So that brings us to the resolution. That dilution risk, it's real and yeah, it's painful. But in this specific case, it's the necessary fuel for what I see as a 10-year journey. So I am not tinkering with the position. I'm letting the thesis play out.
However, and this is a big however, this is not a passive hold. I have now set a very specific alert. If the execution starts to falter, if they start to miss key delivery milestones or change their guidance on these big contracts, well, that's the signal. At that point, the thesis is broken and we will immediately reevaluate and probably exit.
And this, right here, this is how you manage a high-growth portfolio without losing sleep. So the crucial point to take away is this. The goal is not to predict the future, it's to build a robust system that allows you to respond to real data, unemotionally, while protecting your own psychology from all the inevitable noise.
I'm documenting this entire journey from 75,000 pounds to 1 million, right here. If you want to copy the exact bear case prompt I use with my AI, just check the description below. Thanks for watching, and always remember the most important rule: defend the compounding.